In this talk, I'm gonna cover some things that we get from granted right now. Monitoring and observability. I think it's not maybe the hottest topic at all, but it's something that bothers me at the end of every deployment. It's something that it's a gray area where no one wants to scratch until something fails, right? So monitoring and observability of Lambdas with Cloudwatch and Powertools. My name is Edwin Modano. I'm a senior cloud engineer at Kalen. I'm from Mexico City. Came here so far, and it's been an amazing journey. But let me tell you something. My 2 years at Kalen have been like really, really amazing. Understanding more about, observability and monitoring. That is like topics I'm interested for, but also about the part of modernization, the part of cloud migration, something that I've never done in my career. So these are like hot topics right now for me, modernization and migrations, also Gen AI, but it's been an amazing ride. And there are my like socials if you want to follow me. I'm not type a lot. I'm really not that shy, but I prefer not ingest data into the social engine. My story starts with always, once upon a time at the end of the sprint, you're like, oh man, we got it. Everything is working well. And there's this extra feature, because everything happens when most of our workloads are in EC2 instance, right? And we can extract a lot of data from EC2 because metrics are everywhere in those machines, right? Virtual machines. And also the applications we deploy to that boxes are usually have frameworks or extra auxiliary tools that can extract logs, metric, traces, and we're covering EC2 instances, but not in Lambda. And in Lambda, we can have something like this. And this is like our holy grail, how many times we have invoked the Lambda, the amount of time we're getting for the execution, and if we had an error. If we had an error. The Lambda is getting like the errors. But what happened inside the code or the scripts we have? What happened with that? If we're lucky and our developers, or if we are the developers, put a try catch, we're on the good side. But if not, who's gonna catch that errors? So this is not fun, okay? This is our session goals. At the end of this session, I would like that everyone can understand the importance of monitoring and observability and identify how to integrate Cloudwatch and Powertools to any Lambda applications we have. So this is the agenda, a brief introduction. We're gonna talk about monitoring and observability, Cloudwatch and Powertools. We're gonna have a demo session. So what is monitoring? It's the process of collecting and supervising key metrics about performance, availability, and state of any application to determine health. We can collect any data from our applications and convert that to metrics. Proactively, that's monitoring. Why is important monitoring? We can provide safety and quality standards by supervising and measuring our workloads. Remember, measuring our workloads. Identify performance or availability issues before it affects our end users. With monitoring, we're seeking that before everything happens, we should have like a view to the future and make predictions with that data to avoid issues to our end users, right? Offer insights about performance and helps me establishes availability objectives. In many projects I've been working on, I always ask this uncomfortable question. Do you have SLOs to find? And our customers say, let's move to the next question because they don't have objectives. They don't know exactly when, how much the rubber is gonna be stretched before it breaks. And they have SLOs maybe printed somewhere, but someone forgot it on, or maybe ChatGPT generated automatically. So, observability. This is the process of analyze all the collected data from the monitoring process, okay? Produced by a system to understand the behavior of some issues and possible causes with the help of these three pillars. Do we know the three pillars of observability? Metrics, structured logs, and traces. This is the holy grail of observability. If we have three these pillars in mind, we're one step above, sorry. So the importance of observability, it's understand the system from the outside. Maybe we don't know what is going on there, but with observability, we can have a big picture of what the system is doing and how it's gonna behave in the future. Also letting us questions without knowing the inner workings. Allow to easy troubleshoot any part of our system. And this is really important because it helps us answer the most critical question in all my career. Friday night, in front of a screen, say, why this is happening? What is not working? Raise your hand if you've been there. With observability, you're gonna change that. So AWS has a lot of services, Cloudwatch, X-Ray, Grafana, Prometheus to do this kind of work, but we're gonna focus on Cloudwatch and Powertools. So Cloudwatch has many, many ways we can start working in that to do monitoring and observability, logs, dashboards, metrics, alarms, you name it. We can have everything in just one place. And it's not free, but it starts as free. And again, raise your hands. I've been there. Something fails and say, hey, Edwin, please, can you check why this is failing? And my first thought is, oh, I need to go to the log group, check the log streams, scroll infinitely to find a little piece of text that say, hey, I'm the error. You didn't say that. But it could take hours before we find that error, because a real-time application or a production application has amounts of logs that aren't necessarily big. And this is our main objective, to get those amounts of text into something that we can process, a JSON format, a structured log. Because why is important? Because we can filter and process with external tools or Cloudwatch. And speaking about metrics, we have these 3 metrics, and we know it. Everyone that works with Lambda, we know that this is like our 3 main indicators that everything is fine. But what is inside our Lambda, we are not tracking. And as I mentioned, if you find that you have a try-catch, it's going to be checking the errors there. But if not, maybe we have all succeeded, but with errors. Powertools create this kind of involvement with the metrics. You can have a namespace, and this example have us as an e-commerce app. The namespace is the thing that grabs my metric, and then I can have different dimensions for that metric. Let's say that we can segment our workflows in different dimensions, and this is the shopping cart service for the dimension. And we can have a metric for the cart updated, that is a count, another metric for the cart checked, that is a count. We can have different units in time, like time series. For example, how long it took a user getting from the home page until it proceed to the checkout, right? In that time, we can say, okay, the metric is like, it takes like 1 minute to the user to do the checkout. Why is this happening? Do we want this behavior? It is something in our workload that is failing, or well, maybe that's a problem for the UX guys, right? We don't know, but if we start measuring our processes based on metrics and data, we can do predictions about how our system is behaving without knowing what is inside the black box. Okay, demo session. I think we're on time. So this is the demo scenario. We have a simple application. It's a CloudFront with, it's a to-do list. This to-do list is gonna be storing items or fetching items from a Lambda, and the Lambda is gonna be pushing all the logs to Cloudwatch. Really easy. This is a prerequisite I'm using Terraform and any AWS account. And here is the QR code or the link. If you want to see the repository, you can download it. You can do it whatever. It has documentation, but you know, we can improve documentation in every iteration. So try to not be so hard. Okay. So this is my code. Here we have a simple Lambda, as I was telling you. We have prints everywhere, right? Print, maybe we have not good, policies for this kind of login at the beginning, right? But we start printing the storing item, maybe the receive connection, successful is, you know it, you name it. So how can we, well, let's see how this application is behaving. So let's write some items in the list like order, table, and desk, for example. And let's see the Cloudwatch logs. So we have a stream. And this is what I'm talking about. For checking all our logs, we need to go here, scroll infinitely, and oh, here is the starting order. And it's an item, but it's not a palindrome. This is some validation that I have here that if an item that I'm storing is a palindrome, I want to mark it. So how can we improve this? Well, and also I received a feature from my manager that they want, because this application is like everywhere is storing or pushing data. So we want to make a way to identify sessions, right? So let's go to the next part. Sorry if I'm like, I divided this demo into different branches. So let's go to the second branch. And I'm adding a session ID, okay? I'm gonna deploy everything to Terraform. Okay, I think we're done. Okay, it's doing its work, Terraform. So let's go to our application. And let's write some other items like, I don't know, cable, tacos. And if you see, we are here, the session ID that is created for each of the browsers. So I can identify now which browser is writing what, right? So let's go to the streams. And here we have, it's retrieving the item, for example, or storing the items with the browser ID. Because at the end of the day, maybe we want to filter by browser or want to filter by user. I don't know, something that can identify it. But we still have the logs in text. So how can we improve this? Let me go to the other step. That is the structured logs. We're gonna convert all our text in structured logs. Okay, let's see how it looks like in the code. Oh, in the meantime, let me deploy this because we don't know how much Terraform is going to take. So I added here the Powertools library. It's just these two items. I'm initializing the logger in this. You can name the service as you want. And I replace these prints with just this one. Let's analyze a little bit what it says. It has item stored successfully. I am passing the item, the length of my item, if it's a palindrome, and the action that is stored item. Replacing 3 prints. We removed 3 lines. Awesome. So also I have removed, like, for example, this is a logger info, but we have logger error. We can start parameterizing everything of our logs with this kind of proposal. So let's write some other items like check. I don't know, I'm getting short of words right now. But let's see. Okay, we have another stream. And now, if you see, we have our log parameterized. And with CloudWatch also and the logs inside, we can start doing filtering, like give me all the logs with the level info, give me all the logs that's were from cold start, or give me all the logs that it's palindrome, right? Or the function name. we can start filtering really easy. So let's jump to the next step. That it's doing metrics. You know, I love metrics. Okay. Let's deploy this, and in the meantime, I'm going to explain what I did. So I added, I added these 3 other lines, that is loading the metrics from Powertools. You know, metric unit, Lambda context, and metrics. So whenever I stored an item, I verify if it's a palindrome, and I add this metric if it's a palindrome, right? So I'm also adding other metrics, like for example, here, list items, or for example, created item. And I think that's it, just creating a listing item. I have these 3 metrics. So let's go back again to our application. And let's add mom, because it's a palindrome, or Anna. And Clover. Let's go to Cloudwatch. And let's check the stream. So we have here, like, for example, 3 metrics. This is a stored item, for example. And here we have, like, it's a palindrome, false. I think it's for Clover. And fetch items. Well, here's our metrics. For example, here we fetch, push some metrics, like if it's a palindrome and the created item with the count of 1. If we go to metrics, we can check our custom metrics, and here is the server's to-do list. Here is the service, and we can start like checking all the metrics we have. For example, here we have some metrics, but I already ran this a couple of times ago, and we have here some metrics. So we'll start like seeing how many times something is a palindrome, how many times we have created items or listed items. So here is like the fun stuff. Oh, it's still modifying. Okay, let's wait a little bit. This is like a light demo, right? So please, why is it taking so long? I'm gonna, okay, let's wait a little bit. So in the meantime, I can change from branch. Let's create a dashboard. Okay. Let me kill it. Okay, awesome. So already we have metrics and structured logs. What can we do with that? A dashboard. A dashboard always helps and give us insights about our application. In this dashboard, for example, I created the Lambda widget, where is the total request, what we have in our Lambda already, the average response time, and the total errors. But this success rate is important because I am counting the errors of the Lambda, the errors we have inside our code, and I am trying to make an average of the success rate of how many items I have written successfully into the database. If, for example, this is a rule, if the success rate is below 80, I can trigger an alarm for this particular metric. Also, I have the DynamoDB read and write. For example, here, we can set a rule that if my read is below the write, or I am writing more, let's trigger an alarm, because maybe it's not something bad, but maybe I need to take care about that. For example, I was running this the other day, and I surpassed my quota. This widget is really important because in that way I can set us a service level objective about how much I need to write before I need to trigger some alerts, right? Or take other actions, like increase my capacity of writing to DynamoDB or something like that. This, for example, is the amount of items that I start counting as palindromes. So in that way, we can build dashboards with metrics and the logs to start representing the whole picture of my application with just a simple modifications in our Lambdas. And the important part is, and here is like what I always try to give to our customers, the extra, if you want to mention it that way. It's with this in mind, set your SLOs and always push that SLOs that could represent your daily basis as a customer. And not just fill this with a lot of widgets, because that doesn't make sense. These widgets, if it's only one widget, it's okay, but that widget, I want that my customer tell them if it's working, the things they need to solve in the daily basis or not. If that widget helps my customer to take decisions in the daily basis, it's a good widget. It's not, it's just, something that is distracting from the main objective. So the dashboard is really important. It's not just full of widgets that doesn't make any sense. So with that in mind, we learned, or I believe we learned, the importance of monitoring observability, how to use structured logs and why they are important, integrate custom metrics in our Lambdas, and segment namespace and dimensions, and create dashboard with the structured logs and metrics. I think this is everything I got for you. Thank you for having me, and really appreciate being here. Thanks.